Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for being with us on KXAN Live. I'm Will Dupree coming to you from the KXAN Live studio. Right now, Governor Greg Abbott is going to sign a bill passed during the third special legislative session. Senate Bill 7 will ban private employers from requiring their workers to get the COVID-19 vaccine. We have a number of provisions within that piece of legislation that we've covered extensively over on KXAN.com if you'd like to read that a little bit more in depth there. But you can see Governor Abbott coming in, shaking hands with those gathered. This was a big Republican priority, and now he's signing that into law. It did not pass during the regular legislative session. It took 3 special legislative sessions for this to finally come up to a vote and get approved. So let's listen in to what Governor Abbott has to say about this bill.
For their leadership on getting Senate Bill 7 to my desk. This bill is extraordinarily important when it comes to individual freedom of the people in the state of Texas, including the freedom of all Texans to make their own decisions about what health care they want to access and what health care they want to reject. What SB 7 does is it prohibits private employers from requiring employees to get a COVID vaccination. Employers that violate this law are subject to a $50,000 fine as well as a lawsuit and injunctive relief from the Texas Attorney General. This law adds to the law that I already signed that prohibits state and local governments from imposing COVID mandates. It's long past time to put COVID behind us and restore individual freedom to all Texans. Pens, man. Well deserved. SB 7 is now law in the state of Texas. Once again, I want to thank not only Senator Milton and Representative Leach, but also the members of the legislature who are behind us here today, as well as those who stood with this issue every step of the way. Because of their unification on such an important issue, that's exactly why I'm able to sign SB 7 into law today. With that, we'll take a few questions.
Governor, thank you for having us. With HB 1 going to the floor now, are you happy with the current version of the bill? Would you be amenable to any amendments? And what is the path forward to ensuring we can get an up and down vote on education savings accounts and ensuring that is successful for you?
First, I want to thank the House for really devoting the time and energy and effort that was needed to construct an extraordinarily effective bill that goes a long way to not just addressing school choice, but also providing more funding for our schools, making our schools safer, increasing teacher pay raises, doing things like putting an end to the STAR test in Texas. Mm-hmm. And so this is a comprehensive piece of legislation that is, I think, an outstanding piece of legislation. And we know how the process works, and that is we expect it to obviously go to the floor, and then once the House passes it out, we'll see what the Senate does to it, and they'll come together somewhere in the middle, I assume, along the way. But I especially want to thank Chair Brad Buckley for his leadership and everything that he's done. He's been a tremendous leader, a tireless, persevering leader to get this legislation into and out of committee, something that has not been done in decades in the state of Texas.
Right. Do you have a preference on the House version or the Senate version where they split it up?
We will need to see where the Senate comes into agreement with the House. An impression I have, and that is that the Senate will be very close to where the House is on the school choice component. There's on all the funding programs and things like that, there's going to be issues here and there that the House and Senate will work out.
Because of the issues we've seen with the House even getting to this point, do you think then that the Senate should try and meet the House in the middle with HB1?
An impression I have is that the Senate really wants to see this legislation pass, and they will work collaboratively with the House to make sure that it reaches my desk.
I have a question about the bill you just signed. Are medical and nursing students covered by this bill?
So I'm going to let the sponsors of that bill answer your question. Go ahead.
This is the most comprehensive ban on COVID vaccine mandates in the nation. It's 5 times stronger actually than Florida's bill, which is the next strongest, and it covers prospective contractors and prospective employees, and that's part of what makes it so broad. And of course, an amendment was added by Representative Kane, which covers the word benefit. So benefit is an extremely broad word, which does cover medical students and interns and fellows as well.
Governor, if the House next week strips out the ESAs, what would your next one be?
So one thing I know about the House, and that is, for one, pretty much every member of the House has people back home. It could be families, it could be kids, it could be educators who want to see this legislation passed, because this legislation is going to benefit the voters and the residents in each of the House members' districts. But another thing I know about the House, and they know me well enough to know that if they were to do something like that, for one, it probably wouldn't even meet with agreement from the Senate, and would be nothing that would ever meet my desk. But if it did, of course, I would just have to veto it, and we would start all over again. We'd be spending December here, maybe January here, maybe February here. And I know one thing about both the House and Senate: they want to get out of here. But they can get out of here in a way that truly does deliver very positive results for families, educators, and everybody back home in everyone's district.
Good time for one more question, yes.
Governor, on the border, with SB4 passing the Senate last night, there were some concerns about the legal status of this bill, the constitutionality. Are you concerned about a federal challenge to this kind of legislation, or do you welcome a test of the constitutionality?
For one, I feel good about the bill that's on a pathway to reach my desk, showing once again Texas is doing more than any state has ever done in the history of America to address Joe Biden's open border policies. Second, I will tell you it's sad and unfortunate that Texas even has to do this, because we have an administration that's refusing to enforce the laws, remembering that it was just 4 years ago that we had the lowest illegal border crossings in 40 years. But more directly to your point, and that is, we have found already that there have been multiple occasions where the Biden administration has sued either me or the state of Texas because of actions that were taken on the border, and occasions where Texas is suing the Biden administration for what they are doing on the border. So it would not surprise me at all to see this legislation also be the target of litigation by the Biden administration. The Biden administration will do whatever they can to deny Texas the ability to step up and safeguard our state and our country, and to begin to try to impose some level of control over the border that the Biden administration is not providing.
Great, thank you, everyone. That's all we have time.
Will Dupree back in the KXAN live studio. You can see the lawmakers are having pens passed out to them by Governor Greg Abbott after he signed Senate Bill 7 into law just a few moments ago. This bill in particular will ban private employers here in the state from requiring their workers to get the COVID-19 vaccine. It has been a priority for him since the beginning of this year, when he said that he wanted to end all COVID restrictions entirely. and they're saying again that this is the final piece of that. He also commented about this ongoing debate about the creation of education savings accounts. He is continuing to push for that. We should point out that there was no agreement reached during the third special legislative session, which required the governor to then call a fourth one starting on Tuesday. This fourth legislative session is focused on this ability for families to be able to use public dollars to pay for their children's private education. The governor is continuing that push. A House committee passed that bill just earlier today. So presumably that will be advancing to the House floor for debate by all the lawmakers there. And we will continue to follow that very important legislative debate here on KXAN. So please stay with us as we track all those latest political developments. You can find the latest coverage on KXAN.com and the KXAN News mobile app. Once again, I'm Will Dupree here in the KXAN Live studio, and we will see you back here at another time. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your Friday. Take care.